Thank you for being a part of this training. Welcome to the training. For the next 45 minutes, I'm going to take you through a few concepts here that I hope will help you in your business, whichever business you are in. If you have a job that you are trying to really build yourself in that particular lane of your career, it's going to help as well. Whether you sell someone else's products or you have your own business or you're working in a company, all these concepts are going to be relevant. When we talk about sales, there's usually quite a bit of apprehension and resistance because, and rightfully so, because again, sales gets misunderstood a lot. So from a very basic perspective, sales is about finding a need and having a product or a service that can meet that need, and then being articulate enough to explain or unfold the value that you bring to the table to solve that problem. It's more like if you are teaching a kid or someone who doesn't know something, you got to start from the very basic, assuming they don't know, or at least after you ask them. If they don't know, you start from the basic, you educate them, but at the same time, you get them to take action. From us, and in this case, this training, of course, specifically is for us Africans, and I believe all of us here, we are all Kenyans. I haven't seen anyone else from another country. There are a few things that work to our advantage, and there are things that work against us. There's something we call being agreeable. And that's one of the things, it doesn't matter where you grow up, mostly in Africa, we are taught to be agreeable, to be nice, to be respectful, to be humble. It's a good thing, but not always. So you'll find it's part of who we are, being respectful. And then the second piece, which happens in whichever country, whether it's in Africa or in the US or in South America, even Europe, almost every single person is told, don't talk to strangers and don't ask people for money. And guess what we do in sales? We talk to strangers. Of course, we start with the people that we know, but at the same time, we're asking them for money. And then after that, we step outside of our circles and we talk to strangers, people that we don't know much about. We might know their name, but we don't know who they are. And then we ask them for money. So almost everything goes against our programming. And that's why with the sales, you have to understand exactly what it is. And I'm going to break it down here for you in a second. And that's the only time you can have enough freedom and really true freedom to get out there and make a difference. So let me share my screen. I believe pretty much everyone here knows who I am. Besides Rahab, I've never met you. And Margaret, I just met you. Again, my name is Isaac. I live in Kansas City, and I've been in business now for 10 years. I celebrated my 10-year anniversary in May of this year. So it's been quite a ride. Some things have been great. Others have been a little bit rough, but all the same, it's been good. So I'm going to share with you what we call the 5 keys to increasing your sales influence. So like I said, I live in Kansas City. I do business coaching, I do consulting, I do speaking, and I have a team of trainers that work with me. We have an office in Overland Park, and it's a great thing to do. We get to work with entrepreneurs like you, especially on setting up their businesses, growing their businesses, learning how to sell. Those who like to present, which most of you do, and I believe all of us should aspire to present in front of people. We teach on presentation skills, speaking skills, being able to tell your story, crafting your stories. And those are relevant to sales and anything that we do. And again, as Africans, actually, we have a big advantage, especially on the storytelling side, because it's part of who we are. So when you have the ability to grab what you have, the natural abilities and the capabilities, and you transfer that to what you're trying to accomplish, then it becomes relatively easy for you. So let's get to sales. Again, those who are joining us, welcome. I have written 2 books. The first one I published in 2022, which was rough to write. But when you do something for the first time, it's always hard. That became a bestseller within a month. And then I wrote the second one and I published that this year. It became a bestseller as well. I'm writing my 3rd and 4th one. If all goes well, the 3rd one is going to come out in August, actually next month or early September. And then the 4th one by November. I'm in discussion with a HR director for one of the major companies here in town. There's another book we are discussing about. And you might go like, why are you trying to write all these books? When you think about any material that you put out there, the word that you speak, the book that you write, a blog, an email, you're trying to amplify your message. And when you start out, you usually have in your mind how it needs to be. But as you get feedback from people based on what they need and the struggles they have and the challenges they have, you continue writing. So you don't do it just because you want to become a bestseller. In my case, you write your book, the books, because you want to amplify your message. I do keynote speaking mostly in the corporate world, speak for associations as well. I do executive coaching. And like I said, we do training as well. So the question is, what is sales? And I think I gave you quite a bit of a definition, but sales from a very basic perspective, if you go online or you check any dictionary, it will say it's exchange of commodity for money. Now, that's very basic, but actually that's not the real definition of sales when you think about it. That's very academic. If you've gone through any marketing class or any sales class in college, that's what they tell you. Now, I have a big respect for colleges and academics, but sometimes they work against us because we are taught things that can be applied in the real world. In the real world, you are dealing with people that have emotions, people that change their minds, people that can decide what to do whenever they want to do it. So when you think about sales, finding a need and finding a product or service that can meet that need, then and you having the ability to unfold the value, explain the benefits that people are going to get when they buy from you, that's what sales is. I learned this from one of my mentors in 2016. I was in Orlando attending a conference, August of 2016, and one of my mentors got on stage and he explained what sales is. And he said, sales is not something you do to someone, it is something you do for someone. And the moment you include the word for, it means it's a service. So sales is a service. Most of us like to serve other people. We are very selfless. It's part of who we are. We want to make a difference. We want to alleviate pain for someone. We want to help people have a bright future, save money or make money, or just have enough money to be comfortable. So we are out there serving people. And I believe that's why you're in business. So when you look at sales that way, it means after you identify the need and you have a service or a product, then you have every right to get out there, talk to as many people as possible because you want to make a difference in the world. And that means even when someone says no, or they quit on you, or they ghost you, you're not going to get upset because you might get disappointed because this person is not going to get the benefit, which you know it's going to be good for them. But for you, you're going to keep on going because your mission is to help people. So sales is a service. I have some questions for you, and please make use of the chat. Number one is, how many of you like selling? And I'm using the word liking because that's the most basic thing. You know, the ultimate part is for you to love selling. But let's talk about liking sales. How many people like sales? Please put that on the chat. Number two, how many of you don't like selling? Like you really don't like selling. If you are to have your way, probably you would prefer to have people come to you and they just buy from you and benefit from the products or the services that you have. The next question is, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being highly skilled in selling and 1 not skilled in selling, where are you today? So gauge yourself. And again, whether you're at 1 or 9, it doesn't matter. I just want to know where you're at because we always have gaps. If your expectation is to be at a 10 or a 9 in terms of having sales skills, and the reality is you are at a 3, there's a gap. And that gap can either be an inspiration for you. That means you're going to look at it and say, I need to close that gap. I have the capability to close the gap. I have the skills and I can learn how to do it. Or you can look at that gap and go like, what's wrong with me? I'm not smart enough. I'm not good enough. I've been doing this for years. I'm not cut for this. And then you just blame yourself. Basically, you spiral into the victim mindset. And I hope none of you will ever get there because playing a victim doesn't help anyone. The more experienced you are in life and the more you meet people, you come to realize nobody cares about you. And that's a bitter truth. They like you, but they don't really care that much about you. It doesn't make them bad people. They're just worried about their own problems. So you have to vent for yourself. And when you understand that, it means you can get out there, not depend on anyone, not to try to latch on anyone, not anybody's network, not to expect your church to help you or your neighbor or your dad. It's you. And when you do that, you become a very highly effective, impactful person. And that means you can help other people as well. So let's talk about attitude and mindset. Sales, and there's no specific percentage, but I believe more than 90% of your ability to sell your products and services is going to be dependent on your attitude and your mindset. The knowledge on what to say, how to say it, that's not a problem. It's probably going to be about 5 to 10%. Most of you've gone to school very well, if not all of you, you know how to read, you've gone to seminars, you've been given the scripts in terms of selling, you know what to say, but you still struggle. So most of the times it's not even how to say it or what to say, it's the attitude. So let me walk you through a few things. Number one, you need to guard your self-talk. I did a training a few weeks ago, probably 6 weeks ago, for a coaching and training company. And these are coaches and trainers like me. So I'm one of the mentors in that network. And we were talking about how to build a strong personal brand, which Caroline, Matthew, and I, we've talked about this. And what I shared with them, my experience and what I've seen is that your personal brand is going to be determined by, number one, what you say to yourself about yourself. Number two, what you say to others about you. What is it that you tell others about you? And number three, what others say about you when you're not there. And what you say to yourself about you is the most important thing, because other people's voices and what they say about you are just opinions, but what you say about yourself is the truth. And I've done a full training on this, on how to make sure that you say the right things to yourself. So you need to guard your self-talk. Do you say that I'm smart enough, I'm capable, I'm able to do it? And it's not about pumping yourself. It's believing in yourself so much, because you've gone to school, you've had a job most likely, or you have a business, you have kids that you've raised, you have a network. So all those take skills and abilities. So you already have that and you can use that. Or are you on the other side where you feel like you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, you're not fast enough? Whatever that you say to yourself, you're going to believe it because it's true according to you. Whatever we listen to dictates our, number one, thoughts. When you talk about guarding your self-talk, you also need to guard what goes into your mind. So psychologically, what we think about determines how we feel, and how we feel determines the actions that we take, and the actions that we take determine the results that we get. I mean, let's start with thoughts. We only have two kinds of thoughts: positive thoughts and negative thoughts. That's it. We don't have anything in between. So at any given point, you are either having positive thoughts or negative thoughts. Now, some of them might be a little bit mild when they are negative, so probably you won't know because you can get by. You might have some positive thoughts, but they're not really that exposed. But why stay in the middle? Nobody really wants to be average. So if you're going to be happy, cultivate to be happy and express it. Cultivate to be excited and express that. If you're sad, it's okay for you to feel it, because when you truly feel it, you can work on it and solve the problem, whatever that's making you sad. So your thoughts are going to determine how you feel. And we only have positive feelings and negative feelings. How you feel is going to determine the actions that you take. Even in sales, people don't buy your product or your service because it's the best product in the world. They buy your service or product because they feel like it. Now, they may not know that's how they feel, but you create an environment where they can feel that way. It's your job as a salesperson and as an entrepreneur and as a business owner to create that environment for them. How do you talk to them? How do you set it up? What words do you use? And it's not about manipulation. There's a sales process that you use. And of course, the actions that you take are going to determine the results you get. And all those are going to either strengthen your belief about yourself, or they're going to weaken your belief. And belief is the most important thing. Do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your product? Do you believe in the world? Do you believe in the people in the world? Do you believe that the world is a good place? Or do you whine and complain that, the government is killing us? We are paying too many taxes. First off, only people that have income complain about taxes. So you're blessed. Only people that have cars complain about traffic, which means you're blessed. Only people with houses complain about a small kitchen. So you are blessed. So it's all about the perspective that you have. So your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, your results are either going to strengthen or weaken your belief about yourself. The next thing is that don't compare yourself to others. Now, you can compare yourself with others, not to others. To means it's either or. I'm either like them or I'm not like them. I'm as good as they are or I'm not as good as they are. But when you compare with them, you're looking at what they have accomplished and what you have, and you see that gap and ask yourself, how can I close that gap? And better yet, ask them, how can you help me to close that gap? So the question is, are you a better version of yourself today than you were a month ago, than you were yesterday, than you were last week? That's the only thing you need to do. Compare yourself today to what you were yesterday. And so long as you're making those strides and those small improvements, then you'll be fine. So stop comparing yourself to others and only compare yourself to your best self. Whichever way you define your best self, everyone has their own standard that they use when it comes to measuring their best self. The next thing is, are you just going through the motions of life? You wake up in the morning, you go to work, you come home, you watch TV, you go to bed, and you do it again. You'll be surprised that a big percentage of people do that for different reasons. You can't pinpoint exactly for individuals, but I know from a general perspective, naturally, we are lazy. We don't like to do much. It's part of who we are. Given a chance, we just sit home and watch Netflix, and then time goes by very fast. But for you to build something worthwhile, you have to be very intentional. There's a book out there called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. I think it was written in the 1920s or early 30s. And it says that your mind is like a garden. And that means that for you to have negative thoughts, and that means the thoughts are going to affect your feelings and take specific actions and get some dismal results. For you to have those kind of thoughts, you don't have to do anything. Your mind is like just a garden, and the weeds are going to grow whether you water them or not. Weeds don't need special treatment. But for you to grow good crops in your mind, you have to be intentional. Show up to a training like this, go to a seminar, read a book, listen to a podcast, talk to a friend, talk to your mentor, ask questions, keep on searching. It takes a lot of work to do that. Naturally, we are lazy, and that's why most of the people just wake up in the morning, they go to work, which is regimented and set up a certain way. After they master that, they are okay because they do the same thing over and over again. They can do it without thinking because that's naturally who we are. They come home, they watch their TV or whatever they do, they go to bed and they do it all over again. They claim that they are living, but they are not. They are just existing. And I believe that's not you. The 5 keys increasing your self-influence, number 1 is believe in yourself. Believing in yourself. So when you think about believing in yourself, number 1 is understanding who you are as a person. And again, that's a whole totally different subject we can discuss about. But if you can sit down and ask yourself, who am I without my title? Who am I without my job, without my husband or my spouse, without my significant other, without my kids, without my education? Who am I? And you narrow down to that. And probably you're going to say, I am someone who does this, maybe loves people, gets excited when they help someone, or who has a passion for this, who just like to sit down and do whatever that it is. That's the core of who you are. Then you can expand and say, what can I do in terms of a business that's going to help me to stay within that lane so I can continue being happy? Who do I want to work with in terms of clients? Which zip code do I want to be in? Which city do I want to be in? And all those things are important. Now, going back to us acting as victims, sometimes we feel like circumstances are going to dictate where we live, who we get married to, where we work. That's true to an extent when you are starting out. But if you've been doing that thing for 5 years, probably you need to make a change. So we have power to change those things. You got to believe in yourself. And I mentioned about believing in the world, believing in the people in the world, and of course, the business and the products and services that you sell. The second key is focusing on relationships. When you think about relationship, it's not necessarily friends. People think you got to do business with your friends. Just so you know, most of your friends are not going to want to do business with you. Not because they don't like you, but they just want to keep the friendship. They became your friend because they needed just a friendship. When you bring in the business aspect, that's a totally different dimension. Some of your friends might want to do business with you. They might buy your products, they might buy your services, but it's not guaranteed. So when I talk about relationships, is finding someone who has a need that your product or service can fulfill, and then building a relationship with them by asking questions. What drives you? What makes you tick? You are doing financial education and financial advising business. What attracted to that business? What do you like the most about that business? What's your biggest challenge? What fulfills you? Where do you want to go in the next year or 5 years or 10 years? Okay, then we come back into the challenges. What's one thing I can do for you? When you do that, and that can take about 3 to 5 minutes, then you have an instant connection. And make sure it's not manipulation. You know, some salespeople out there, and you might have met some, they are so slimy and so sneaky in a way. They try to use the power of words to manipulate you to buy their stuff. Now, that's not professional, and I believe it's very disrespectful. You want to make sure you build that relationship. We say that people are going to do business with those that they know, like, and trust. Now, they don't need to take months and years to know you or to like you. It might take a while for them to trust you, but If they don't trust you, they should trust your product. If they don't trust you, they should be able to trust your style or your vibes, whatever you're projecting out there. So relationships come in when you meet someone, you get them to know who you are. Very quickly express what you are all about. My name is Dr. Judy. I have this kind of a business. This is what drives me. I like to do this. I'm out there because I'm looking for this kind of people that have this kind of a need. You need to be very upfront. The thing about hiding what you do and who you are and keeping it vague, hoping that someone is going to be intrigued by your vagueness, that's not going to fly. It's not going to happen. Now, especially in this age where people are so impatient, you only have 7 to 15 seconds to capture someone's attention. And those that have been sales for a long time, you've heard about, the elevator speech or 30-second commercial. It's not even 30 seconds anymore. It's 15 seconds for you to capture someone's attention. And there's a process and a method to that madness on how to do it. So build relationships that are going to lead to business. One of the clubs that I'm a part of is called American Club Association in Overland Park. And right now they have here in Kansas City 5 locations and a few across the country. And I've been a member there for 8 years now, and I've really generated good business from that place. There are people that we came in the same time. They are still struggling in their business. They show up to every coffee meeting, every breakfast, every event, every happy hour, but they are still struggling. And what I've come to realize is that they have built good relationships, but they have tried to get friends in there, or at least an illusion of friends, because we just meet for coffee and that's it. Probably they don't even visit each other outside of the business network. And they are so afraid to ask for the business because they lead with a relationship. But what I've told people is that I'm here to build relationships that are potentially going to lead to business. My intentions are very pure. I don't need any more friends. I have enough friends. Let me just put it out there. I have more than enough friends. I'm looking for people that I can help. And if they can become my friends, that's okay. Most of my clients, really, they're more like friends, especially the ones that I've worked with for more than 2 years. So they become friends in the process anyway. But if you can lead with a solution to the problem that they have, then you're going to be more valuable to them. And I believe almost every single person out there is busy, so they're not looking for friends. So don't try to be friends with them. I mean, at least don't try to lead with that. The next thing, which is a key to increasing your self-influence, is adding value first. I've had some people ask me, how can I add value when I'm not making money? How can I add value before someone buys from me? The only way I know to add value to people is for them to become my client. And that's not true. Every single person out there has a need. Even the millionaires have a need. And I've tested this, by the way. First off, I never thought it was possible. I thought people that are successful, like Caroline and Judy and Jack, and basically all of you here, you don't need my help at all. And I used to think the only way I can help people is by them becoming my clients, but that's not true. Today, actually, I got a call from a guy called George Commons. There's a nonprofit called the Barnabas Group. It's a faith-based, Christian faith-based organization. And they usually call it a ministry to other ministries. So it finds nonprofits and the ministries that are really making a difference in the community, and they connect them with people like me. I support that Barnabas Group, some amount every single month so they can advance their mission. And I got a call from George today because on Tuesday next week, he has more like a town hall, and he was telling me, I would like you to be a part of that so we can do some interviews, take some videos. And he said, the reason I'm inviting you is because there's a lady called Katie who runs a nonprofit helping parents and girls that have been abused by people. It doesn't matter who it is, mostly sexually abused. So she gets them and takes them through counseling and just get them to get back on their feet together with their parents. So Katie presented, and she's a great speaker. She got on stage and I was there, and she presented, and then she said, we have a need for a videographer. We have a need for a website. We have a need for this. And she also wanted to write a book. So that was after I published my first book. So we had a Zoom call, and I connected her to the lady who does my website and a guy who does videos for me. And they were able to donate all these services for them. And then I guided her on how to write a book. That was more than a year ago. So George today told me that Katie told her she's moving fast. She's writing a book. She has a podcast. And that has been possible because I helped her. I wasn't thinking about Katie. I didn't think I did much. She's not my client. She never paid me a penny. I didn't do it because I was expecting anything back, but I don't even remember exactly what I said. The point is, Every single person that you meet, whether they buy from you or not, you need to add value to them. Ask enough questions, connect them with someone, give them some kind of advice. If there's someone who is coming into your industry and they are very new, a little bit confused, they don't know how to talk to people, they don't know whether to text them or WhatsApp them, really giving them some kind of a guidance, give them 15 minutes and say, hey, this is what I did when I was starting out. That person is going to remember you. We say that the best time to help someone is being kind of either the first person or among the first people to help that person, because people never forget. So always add value to people, a resource, advice, mentorship, and better yet, if they can become your client, that's even better than anything else. Key number 4 is to ask for the sale. And this is where the rubber meets the road. How many people here are really good with getting prospects, basically the people that you can sell to, that you are good at finding people to talk to? But again, when you get to the selling part or asking for the sale, you freak out or you become vague, or the self-confidence we are talking about, lack of confidence kicks in and you kind of just mumble something. And by the way, this is real because I've been there. How many people struggle with that? You can raise your hand or you can put in the chat. This is very biblical. You don't have to be a Christian to believe this, but it is a principle. Matthew 7:7 says, ask and you shall receive. And the second part says, for whoever asks, receives. I believe it's just an emphasis. And what I've come to learn is that in this world, you only get what you ask for. Now, you might get some things that you haven't asked for. Your parents might pay for your tuition fee. Your friends will buy you coffee. They want to hang out with you, but it's not going to be consistent. It's not something you can count on. So if you want to have enough control over your life, over your business, over your sales, you have to ask for the sale. Let's go back to the beginning. We said that sales is a service. Sales is something you do for other people. So leading with that thread that you want to serve people, which I believe you want to, and you are so passionate about that, you believe in your product, you believe this product can change this person's life. It can bring peace of mind. It can secure their future. It can help them make an extra dollar here and there. Then are you going to feel bad when you ask for the sale? Or should you hesitate to ask for the sale? And the answer is no, you shouldn't, because you know it's going to help them. In 2008, I came to the US in 2007. There is a guy called James Muigai. He is Pastor Monica's brother. He's one of the first people I met when I came to the US. And he was like, there's a business meeting going on somewhere. Do you want to come? I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went to this business meeting, and there was a lady who was presenting, and she said, assume that you are really a generous person, and on Thanksgiving, you decide to give away some cash. And she said, assume you have like $120 bills that you want to give away, and you get to a street, kind of a busy street, and you stand there. And for every single person who's passing by, especially those that are walking, you tell them, here's a $20 bill for you as a gift. Now, that's when $20 meant something. Right now, probably you need to give $100. And she said, some people are going to take that $100 bill and they'll say, thank you. Others are going to look at that $20 bill and go like, is it even real? Why are you giving money for free? They are going to be skeptical. Others are going to say, no, I don't want your money. Who told you I need money? Now, those are the extreme, really negative, very whiny people who shouldn't even be around others. So it's the same way with your service and your product. When you get to asking for the sale, or at least presenting and asking people to buy from you, some people are going to say, oh, thank you so much for even bringing this to my life. I feel blessed to have met you. This timing is right. It's possible. If that hasn't happened for you, most likely you're not talking to enough people, or at least your time hasn't come yet. So keep on doing it. Then the second category of people are going to say, okay, is this really real? It sounds too good to be true. What qualifies you to sell electrical services? What qualifies you to sell financial services? What qualifies you to become a coach? And by the way, just so you know, people have asked me that. I'm not going to name names at all. So I got into business in 2009 and I wasn't succeeding. Then 2013, that's when I decided to get into coaching. And then around August, I met with someone and we were talking, and I was really excited about this thing. And I shared with them what I was trying to do. I told them I was going to be a consultant and a coach and a speaker, and those are the things I want to do. And she asked me exactly this question. She said, what qualifies you to advise people on those things? I tried to kind of defend myself, and I said, I'm just going to help people with the same things that I've been doing in my job, but I've been studying, I've been reading books. I mean, those that have been to my apartment that time or even to my house, I have a huge library. I've been reading books. I had all this knowledge and I wanted to put it into practice. And when she left, I got thinking and I was like, this is interesting. First off, I got a little salty and I was like, who is she to question what I can do and what I can't do? But again, the other side of me was like, she doesn't understand what business I'm trying to get into. All this to say, people are going to question the business that you're in and your intentions because they don't understand. And if they don't understand it, of course, if they give you a chance, you can explain it to them. But if they don't give you a chance, you're not going to be able to. So it's not your business to try to convince anyone. And again, sales is not about convincing people, it's about persuading people and showing them the value. The first category of people, they are going to see the value. They'll say thank you. The second one, they're going to be a little skeptical. Those are the people you need to follow up with. Of course, not too aggressively, but very consistently and very steadily follow up with them, educate them, expose them to some materials, invite them to a presentation if you can do that. And at some point, they might be able to understand it. And if they don't, continue being nice to them. And who knows, a few years from today, they might be able to buy from you. I'll tell you one quick story. This came to light yesterday. There is a guy I met in 2022. First off, I met the wife. I was speaking at a women's event. The wife was there. She's a speaker as well and an author. She went home, talked to the husband, and the wife said, my husband needs help to build his confidence so he can communicate. The guy has struggled with PTSD. He used to be in the military. The guy was connected with me by the wife so I can help him. And we met at Starbucks. First off, the dude showed up late, 10 minutes late, which is a big pet peeve for me. But I was like, I respect your wife. I'm just going to wait. He showed up. We sat down. And as soon as he sat down, I could tell the guy was sizing me up. He was listening, but he was not paying much attention. Fast forward, I sent him a contract. He did not sign it. He ghosted me, tried to reach out to the wife. I did not hear from them. Earlier this year, February, this guy reaches out to me and he said, Isaac, can we talk? I said, yeah. He said, I would like to engage you as a coach. We talked. I took him on as a client. So yesterday, he brought in one of his business partners, great African-American guy. And as we were talking and I was helping them with their business, he said he was telling his business partner, when I met Isaac 2 years ago, I didn't think he could help me. I was like, I don't need a coach. I don't need anyone to tell me I'm a grown man. I've done all these things. I know all the stuff he's talking about. And I looked at him and I said, actually, I knew that you were sizing me up when we met. And he was like, what do you mean? I knew that you didn't think I could help you. And he said, first off, I wasted a whole 2 years because I should have hired you. And then he asked me, how come you didn't tell me? And I said, and then I told him, I knew the timing was not right. But again, if I told you, you would have felt bad about yourself. And that would not have been good for you or for me. All this to say, even when people don't buy from you, it doesn't make them bad people. Maybe the timing is not right. Maybe they're not educated enough. Now, this guy, for a whole 2 years, he was getting my emails. He was on my email list. So he was getting my blogs and my social media stuff. Again, I didn't know he was going to buy or not. He was just one of the people in my email list. All this to say, don't give up on people, even when they say no. Now, the third category of people that we talked about are the ones that don't want anything to do with you. They are likely to call you names, either to your face or behind your back. They are likely to badmouth your business, whether they are Africans or otherwise. People are just people. Those are the people you don't want to waste your time with. You don't need to be upset. You just need to draw boundaries. One of the things you need to do in sales is to make sure you are not desperate at all. Don't be desperate. If you're desperate, people are going to use you. They are going to drag you around. And I'm not saying that you don't care about them, but care without caring. That means if someone wants to walk away, open the door for them and make sure you do it with a smile. Don't slam the door. When you do that, it shows that you've lost control, and that's bad for you and it's bad for your personal brand. After they buy from you, again, especially the first group or the second category of people, they buy from you, always ask them for a referral. And there's a process of doing all that. I'm not going to cover that today. And then ask for a testimonial. We used to ask people to give you a Google review. Again, life has changed and people have changed the way they look at things. People can make up Google reviews. So if possible, you need to ask them for a video testimonial. Now, you guys, you are all here. At some point, I'm going to ask you for a video testimonial. Most likely, we are going to have a Zoom call for 15 minutes. And then I'm going to ask you, what did you like the most about the training? And then I'm going to record it. And that's my testimonial. If you're comfortable being on camera, which you should be as an entrepreneur. So people nowadays believe videos more than just a Google review because you can make up that. But always ask for the sale. When you close the deal, ask for the referral, and then also ask for the testimonial. So a few questions that you can ask when you're asking for the testimonial. How are you before working with me? And especially if you've been working with someone for maybe 3 to 6 months, you can ask them the before and after. How are you after working with me? And why should someone else hire me? So those are the questions you can ask on a video. I tend to make them really easy, very conversational. And I'll say, hey, Kaloki, can you tell me what has been your best experience working with me or working with my team? What has been the biggest benefit? What has been your experience? Key number 5 is to know who you are looking for. Know who you are looking for. We say that you cannot hit a target that you don't know what it is. You have to know who you're looking for. And there are different ways of looking at these. In terms of the person you're looking for, you need to know, where do they live? What's their demographic? To an extent, are you looking for men or women or both? What's their psychographic? And psychographic is, what's their mindset? How do they think? How do they talk? Who do they talk to? Who do they hang out with? What kind of books do they read? Who do they follow? All those are important. What are their dreams? What are their goals? To an extent, what's their age? But age doesn't matter that much, because young people and older people, they all have dreams. So you need to know who you are talking to so you can customize your sales message or your branding message to that. If I get out there and I say, let's say I meet with Jack and I say, hey, my name is Isaac. What's your name? He says, my name is Jack. And then I'll say, you'll ask me, what do you do? That whatever I say after that needs to express who I'm looking for and who I serve. And I'll say, I help business owners or help entrepreneurs to learn how to sell or to learn how to grow their businesses so they can make more money, so they can help their families, so they can do this. So there's who I serve, how I do it, and then the result. That can be said within 15 seconds. And I'm not kidding, right? Very quickly today, I went to a networking meeting, and there's a guy that I've known for a few months now. And I had a friend, very smart lady, standing next to me. She asked the guy, what do you do? And the guy mumbled something. And I know he knows what he does, but he was not ready to tell that person what he does. He just went into giving vague examples. And I could feel the pain for him. So you need to be ready. If I ask you, what is it that you do? You need to spit it out just like this. That means you got to craft it, write it down, memorize it, make it become more like second nature. So you just get it out there. Again, you only have 7 to 15 seconds to express what you do. Write out the description, then write out the details. Write them, and then make sure that you master that. You say it over and over and over again until it can come out very easily. So those are the 5 keys for increasing your sales influence. And the reason we are using the word influence is because sales is a service. You don't make people buy. You don't sell people. You influence them to buy from you. You influence them to see the value that your services or your products can provide. So go ahead and put your questions in the chat, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the questions, because I'm about to share something else with you here. So here's the question. How many people, if we were to finish right now with what we are doing, you feel like it was a time well spent for you? Put that in the chat. You can just say me or yes. Okay. Obviously, we cannot cover everything within an hour or even the few minutes that we had. Even if we had all day, sales is very, very comprehensive. I'm still learning about sales, just so you know, still refining my sales process. I'm going to share something with you, and I'm going to demonstrate right now in the next few minutes on how to close a deal. So I'm about to sell you something. You might fall under the first category, this is good, or the second one, this is too good to be true. The third one will be like, get the hell out of here. That's okay. I'm cool with that as well. So I'm going to share with you a program I have. It's a 12-week program that I take people through. So give me a second here, and I call it a special offer for you because you are here. So you can write in the chat again as I show you this, your biggest takeaway. What's the biggest lesson that you've learned from this presentation that you feel you can apply immediately? I'm not a big believer in waiting for a week or even months before you apply something. If you wait for so long, most likely you'll never do it. But what's one thing that you can apply tomorrow or even tonight, if you're not planning on going to bed, something that can help you to move towards your goal? So the question is, are you ready to build your business? Are you ready to make sales? Are you ready to go to the next level? Or are you still tying your shoes? There are people that mark time. It's called getting ready to be ready. You need to have your list. You need to have your script. You need to memorize what to say. You need to have a perfect social media page. You need to buy new clothes and new shoes. That's called being ready to be ready. It's a waste of time. Get out there and make it happen. So the question I have for you, have you ever struggled with finding the right prospects, basically the right people to sell to, persuading people to buy from you? And we said sales is not making people to buy, is persuasion, having the courage to get out there and sell. Courage is not absence of fear. It's resistance to fear, and it's mastery of fear, but not the absence of fear. That's what courage is. You resist the fear, you master the fear, but it's not the absence. Fear is still going to be there. So people act courageously doesn't mean they don't have the fear. So do you have the courage to get out there and make it happen? And how about closing the sale? Have you ever struggled with that? At least I know Christine said she has struggled with that. So let me help you to build the confidence to go after your dreams. I believe that I'm qualified to do that. And you get to know my story. Probably some of you do that. I had to build my confidence. Again, growing up in an environment that suppressed me and being taught all kinds of stuff, and then getting into the what I call the American market and being looked at differently, and also being made fun of by our people. Just so you know, some of our people called me names. They still do, by the way. It never ends. Even when you are successful, people still look at you, go like, what are you doing? I can help you build the confidence. I can help you to find and talk to the right people. I'm not going to find the people for you, but I can show you how to do that and how to close deals without sounding creepy, or at least without feeling kind of icky about the sales piece. So the program I have is called the Sales Mastery Bootcamp. It's a 12-week mastermind that I take you through. It's part of a Maxwell program that I'm certified through, and well-crafted program. I've taught this program so many times. There are 2 levels. So we're going to go through level 1, which is 12 weeks. And for those who want to go second level, that's a totally different program. But I think level 1 should be okay for you guys, because you're an entrepreneur. You already have a taste of what sales is all about. So you don't need a lot of babysitting. You just need to get out there and make money. So let me tell you about the program has worked for CEOs, business owners, entrepreneurs, senior executives, senior managers, and sales leaders. So anyone, whether you're running your own company or you're selling for someone else, it can work for you. They always give what I call a 30-day guarantee. And the reason I lead with this, even before I show you the details, is because I don't like to work with people that don't like me or I don't like them. It's just as simple as that. I don't like to work with whiners or people that want to kind of jump on my back and for me to carry them. So if someone signs up and they go like, you know what, this is not for me, you get your money back. Again, I'm going to give you that with a smile, and we continue being friends or just being acquaintances. So if you get into the program and within 7 days, 10 days, whatever, 30 days, I'm going to give you your money back. You don't need to apply. You just need to send an email to me or a text and you get your money back. So you have 2 choices, and every single person has 2 choices, but especially for you because you're here. Number 1 is to do nothing and not take what I call the leap of faith and get into a program that can help you, or at least work with me. And there's going to be actually one other coach that's going to work with me. He is a personal branding and marketing expert. His name is Juno. He's based in New Jersey. He's the one who takes care of my marketing stuff, if you've ever seen my stuff out there. The second option is to make this small investment today compared to the value that you're going to get. And I will show you what the investment looks like. So if it works, great. And if not, then you get your money back. So the real question is it worth it to gamble a few minutes of your time to check this out, which again, if it does just half of what we claim to do, it's going to pay for itself. When you sign up for this program, there's a bonus I'm going to give you, which is one of the programs that I have. It's called Dynamo Leaders Academy. It has not been launched yet, but it's going to be launched here in a few weeks, and I'll show you how it looks like. It's going to be our hub for all the programs that we have, the videos and online courses. They're all going to be in there. So when you get into this program, you're going to get membership for that, for the programs for a whole year, really for a whole year. The reason I put here 1164 value is because the minimum for that platform is going to be $97 every single month. So when you do 97 by 12, it's coming to 1164. But since I'm giving that for free, it's going to be just for the first 5 people to sign up for this program. So here's how it looks like. It's an online course platform. I'm going to be doing a training there on Mondays and Thursdays, 2 to 3:15. Everything is going to be recorded. I'm going to be bringing some guests. So I'm excited about that. This is all built. And the guy I told you about it from New Jersey is the one who has built this. He's brilliant. So this is what you're going to get. Number 1, the 12-week sales mastermind. You're going to get what we call entrepreneurship assessment. We'll give you an assessment to determine your selling style, what you're passionate about, so we can align your training and also building your business based on that. It's based on DISC that we use to test people's communication style and personality styles. Then you're going to get a one-on-one sales strategy session with me, specifically with me, to help you craft your plan for the next 90 days. Since we are going to work together for 12 weeks, that's 90 days. Ideally, within 90 days, I want you to make money. So yeah, I don't want you to just pay for a program that's going to cost you. I mean, if you pay $1,000, you need to make at least 10,000. And I believe you are able to do that. You're going to have 1 year access to the Dynamo Leadership Academy, the DLA, the one that I showed you about. So community of other entrepreneurs that are going to be a part of that. And the total value is $72.55. The price is $9.97. So again, that's the program. The last slide that I have is this one. If you want to sign up for the program, you can scan that QR code. You get part of the program. Everything is automated. So you're going to get some emails, but if you get stuck, you can always text me. If you text during the day, 8 or 5, you might get a response from my assistant. So I'm going to look at the chat to see if there are any questions. I'm going to leave that slide over there. Again, just to keep it very clear, ideally, that's how I do my sales. I rushed it a little bit because we are past our time by 2 minutes, but that's the process whereby you uncover the value, take people through whatever that it is, then they ask questions. Caroline said, please share with us what we need to make a solid elevator pitch. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a gift. How about that? I'm going to give you a formula on how to create a nice elevator pitch. There are different ways of doing it. One of them, you use the word help, work with, or I am the person. So Caroline, I'm going to use you since you asked the question. If people ask you, hey, what do? You say, I help professionals. I help people. I help parents. I help moms to blank so that blank. I help moms, or I help people to secure their future by investing their money. I'm just making up stuff. I help people to do this. Jack, I help businesses and municipalities to get the best deal when it comes to construction. I work with CEOs. I work with project managers. I am the person, the professional people call when they have this problem. So there are several formulas that you can use to create that, and I have it all drafted. So whether you become a part of my program or not, just send me an email or a text message with your email address, and I'll send you that formula to create that. Okay. Thank you, Christine. She said I'm a godsend. That makes me feel good. Thank you, Margaret. She said very good information. Christine, sign me to that class. I'm ready. Good. Wow, I like people that are ready. Rahab, thank you. Great information. But Rahab, where are you based at? Go ahead and put in the chat. I think you are the only person that I don't know. Hortensia, thank you so much for all you do. I appreciate that. I would like to see your faces as we wind this up. And I'm sorry, I want to get down here. My clock is telling me that I'm out of time. Was this valuable?
Yes, it was.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Kaloki, I know you are still shopping. It looks like you are in the house already. Can you tell me, what's one thing that you feel was really valuable to you?
I think the part with the adding value, that kind of came out, right? Because it's a good pitch, when you get to talk to people, you find a way of adding value to your product, so you'll be able to sell it out.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of gave some good tips about that, and I kind of like that. Okay. Pretty much you did everything. Everything you discussed was good information. I loved it. You did a good job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You taught me well. He's one of my friends. He's one of my biggest advocates. A big fan on social media too. Appreciate that. Jack, you've been kind of behind the scenes. If you're able to talk, I would like to hear from you. What's one thing that you picked that you think was valuable?
Hi, everybody. I think pretty much, going over the materials, and what I pretty much learned about your position is having the right attitude and approach on some issues, because sometimes as people want to sell a product or a service, we feel like you don't want to approach somebody because you already overthink about their reaction or their response to what you try to sell. But when you have that confidence, when you know what you're talking about, and when you have the right words and the right approach to what you're selling, then you can be able to have a good outcome. And also the way you ask us a question about rating yourself, I thought about that, and I thought I've never done that to myself. How good am I from 1 to 10? I rate myself between 5 and 6. And now I need to go back and evaluate myself and have like a Richter scale where I'll be able to know, why am I 6? Why am I 5? Why not 9? Why not 8? Why not 10? And be able to know exactly the processes and procedures to be successful in the sales and all that. So yeah, it was a great presentation.
Yeah, thank you. So let me just mention something real quick. And now it's us talking, because we get to limit ourselves. Now, I understand circumstances can be limiting as well. You get out there, you are talking to someone, they're looking at you, okay, either you're Black or you have an accent. Some people look at you that way. But most of the times, it's a projection on who they are. Most of the times, if someone doesn't like you, most likely they don't like themselves, and you don't want to hang around them anyway. So you don't have to be rude, but assessing yourself is key. When those kind of thoughts come in and you go like, okay, can I really do this? Do I ever have the confidence? Do I have the capability? Is anyone really going to even understand what I'm saying? Then you just need to know that you have a big advantage. Speaking as an African, we talk about minority, which I think is just a demographic and political thing. If you have small numbers, they are called minorities. But in business, when you think about majority, is based on who can capture the attention and keep the attention and be remembered, whether it's your name or what you do. So you are likely to remember someone who looks different, especially those who live in Jefferson County. It's a place where we don't have a lot of Blacks. So if you go to a business networking meeting, you are likely to be one of the two business people of color. So in that case, you are not the minority, you are the majority, because they'll remember who you are, if not anything else. They are likely to remember what you do. And that's my attitude. And you can milk it. It's a real thing. Some of you might have come to some of my networking meetings. When you come to some of these meetings, you might think I'm a celebrity because everybody's trying to say hi to me. I'm maybe one of the two people, and I know how to build relationships. So get out there, make a fool of yourself, because anything that you do for the first time, you're going to be really bad at it. So don't beat yourself up. It's okay for you to get out there and give it a shot. Thank you, Jack. Caro, and then we go to Margaret.
Wow, thank you so much for this wonderful session that we just had. I really do appreciate. And yes, I was a sponge because I've taken in so much. And my biggest take home is about the mindset. Like, I had not thought about it that way, because what you said is so true. Like, what do you tell yourself? What do you tell yourself? And I actually thought about that example that you gave us about the guy who, when the lady asked, what do you do? He started mumbling. I feel like maybe even when I'm rating myself, when I'm talking to people about what it is that I want to share, it's the convincing. You have first to acknowledge it yourself and know that, believe it yourself, believe in the product, believe in what it is that you want to share before you share it. I trust that what you said is so true, because what you say to yourself is very important. What you tell others about yourself is also very, very crucial. And then, because now what you tell others about yourself is definitely what, and even when you present yourself out there, your attitude, because everything about you, as you're going to train us, and I've read about it, is about your brand. What you present to people is your brand, and how they perceive you is what they're going to talk about you. So I guess it starts from, what do you tell yourself about you?
That's
and
true.
Then that's how you share it to the world. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, so welcome. Totally agree, by the way. And when you at first, by the way, you're not going to even believe yourself. I did this exercise and I was just lucky. I was exposed to this kind of thing long time ago. I was going to UCM, and one of the professors introduced us to a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And they talk about you getting in front of a mirror and calling yourself your name and talking to yourself. And I was like, that's very easy. And the first time I did it, it was very creepy. We are not used to looking at ourselves, especially when you look at your eyes, because the eyes are the windows to the soul. So you see your own soul, all the insecurities. And especially when you go like, Caroline, you're strong. And in the back of your mind, you're like, no, you're not. You can see that you are either lying to yourself, and you got to do it. You get very comfortable. Then you record yourself and you get comfortable with your voice. The first time you hear yourself recorded, you're going to be like, I don't sound like that. And you try to change it. So nobody likes to watch themselves. Nobody likes to listen to themselves, but you got to do it over and over again until it clicks in your brain and you believe it. And until you believe it, other people will never believe it. So when you get out there, your posture, your demeanor, the tone of your voice, the way you talk, people need to go like, I don't know what this guy is talking about, but he looks like he knows something. And you can't fake it, whether you are on stage or talking to one person or a group of people. It just becomes part of who you are. And that's when you get to enjoy your life more than ever before. So, Kero, I'm really happy for you. I know you're working towards that. And for all of you, I know you'll get there. So let's have Margaret and then Christine. Margaret, what's your biggest takeaway?
The number 2, focus on relationships. And first of all, I would like to thank you so much for the information that you've given. I do really appreciate you, and I appreciate my friend Christine for connecting me with you. So this point number 2 that you said, focus on relationship. You know, you say that some friends will not want to do business with you. I think I had never realized that. But as going about, it seems that they are the most negative people that you come across when you're trying to do the business. You will talk to them and then they say, oh, I don't think I'm to do that. So this one has taught me something, that they are the most skeptical people, or rather they are the people with negativity into what you're doing. Some of them will even tell you, this one you're trying to do, don't think anybody will come in, or I don't think this will get off the ground. I have had people telling me something like that. And they are my closest friends. I would say they are close friends.
Yeah.
But they won't come into. And also, when they know that, let's say, for example, Isaac is my friend and Christine is my friend. If Christine knows that I had talked to Isaac, she will go, did Margaret talk to you about this? Oh, I told her. No.
Wow.
What did you tell her? So, you know, now they have like ganged up against you and, you know, start. But I think this is really important. And also, whatever we listen to, it dictates our thoughts.
Yeah, it does. Thank you for sharing that. If you don't mind, let me just share something with you. Now, for those who know me, probably Christine, not that much, but Jack and Carol, we get to talk a lot. I care about people, but I don't. And that's just a decision I made a long time ago. Caring without caring. And this is what I say. And even Americans, it confuses them because, again, we are all naturally wired to want to be liked, to want to relate with people. I tell people, I like you so much to an extent that I don't care about your opinions, especially if they are negative. Okay. I wouldn't care about that. I'm going to overlook that and give you enough grace, but I'm not going to let you drag me down. I can tell you, when I started out in 2014, I did a free leadership class, which went on very well. Some of you know Pauline, Bosinde, Jogu, Simon, and the wife, they were part of it. Irene, Karaoke, all those got them together, and we did a nice leadership mastermind for free because I was trying to test out my material. And then I did another one that I charged very little money. A few people showed up. And then when I went into business, in my mind, I did my calculation. We had about 10,000 or 15,000 Kenyans, several churches. I was like, I'm going to be rich within a few months because all these people need my services. And I was so shocked. As soon as I announced that I was charging for my services, people vanished. There are people I helped to get promotions. I coached them for free. There are people that I helped to launch their businesses, coached them for free when I was testing my stuff, and all those people did not become my clients. Initially, I was a little bitter, but I came to realize they did not understand what I was doing. And my dream is not their dream. It's just my dream. And me getting all upset about that, it's number one, is putting so much pressure on them and so much pressure on myself. So what I've learned is that when people don't understand your dream, they'll never buy into it. And I can tell you a story after story. One of the guys who has been here for like 40 years now, I told him in 2014, I think it was like December, we were somewhere, and I told him what I'm trying to do. And he was like, so you talk to people and they pay you, you coach them and they pay you. And then he said, why can't they just read a book? See, and I was like, this is crazy. You know, this dude has been in the US for all these years. I thought he understood what it is, and it clicked. When people don't understand something, they say no. One of the best gifts you can give yourself is not to rely on your friends that much and not to put so much pressure on yourself. The world is your stage. Get out there into what I call the American market. Talk to as many people as possible. It's good for you because you're always going to have a full pipeline. And the people that are trying to backbite you or say bad stuff about you, they might come along. And if they do, help them because you've been called to help people. Now, if someone really did something on purpose, forget about that. Forgive them, but don't let them come in. Jesus will deal with them. So, if someone really brought negativity on purpose, because that was pre-calculated, predetermined, premeditated, you don't allow them. But if someone just said something out of, to an extent, being ignorant, naive, a little bit of stupidity, you forgive them and you move on. So that's how I operate. Don't beg, always ask for help, but don't beg for anything because that's how things are supposed to be. Margaret, I know it's painful when your friends don't buy from you, but hey, get out there, do it, not for anyone else, but for yourself. One of the mistakes we make, and I've seen this mostly with African entrepreneurs, they say, I'm going to do it so I can show them. Nitawaonyesha, watajua. And to an extent, you are trying to impress them and show them how successful you are. And then you become successful and you realize none of them is impressed. And now that's bad for you because you are going to go like, what do I need to do? And then you become like a little girl or a little boy who's always chasing something because you are lacking inside. Do it for yourself and do it for the calling that you have. And everyone else is going to see it. No, I can tell you this. And again, I'm not mad at anyone. Someone told me, Isaac, you never succeed at anything because you've tried so many businesses. All right. Part of me was like, who are you to tell me what not to do? But again, you just have to keep on moving forward. There are so many people that need your services, Margaret, and I think you are in a position to help them. So let me know if there's anything I can help you with. Christine, what's your biggest takeaway and what help do you need?
Yeah, thank you so much for even creating time to come and talk to us. In fact, I'm so impressed. It's your quote, Matthew 7:7, ask and you shall receive. Sometimes we hesitate a lot, like if you don't talk about it, nobody will know what you're doing. Maybe the person you're sharing on who is the right person. So, me, what I do sometimes, I say, I'll tell everybody what I'm doing. Those who will get it will get it. Those who will not, they will come back or I will lose them. But at the end of the day, I'll have something. Yeah. So another thing that strikes me a lot is to believe in the value, adding value. Those are the keys that I want to learn a lot. It's not easy, but I was looking for a class and here you are because I was like, I need to do something to learn about what I'm doing more and to know how to approach. You know, sometimes you can slide like that, even like the way that you invite somebody, you don't know what to say, like the guy you are saying, what do you do? Sometimes you are like, where will I start? So it's a really, really, like we have you, you're one of our own who can tell us, you can even explain in Kamba for me and I will understand. What a blessing.
Yeah, I appreciate going back to what Margaret was saying. I think some things, they never go away. We forgive people, but we never forget their names. And if anyone ever tells you forgive and forget, that's not true. That's a bad gospel. It's been 10 years since I did a class or a training for one of our own. And it's not because I market to everyone. If anybody wants to come to my class, well. And all these years, the only person who has asked me for actually two people, how much do you charge for your services because they are willing to pay, was Samson Kitonga, okay? Consulted with him, paid me for an hour, 2 hours. And then Judy, Dr. Judy Kimatu, did a training for her team. And that was actually this year. All these years, nobody else has ever done that. They're not just Kenyans, just Africans. And then they'll start asking questions and try to go like, do you think you can do it? First off, I'm glad I'm a Christian. I have an attitude whereby I'll be like, you know what, you want it or you don't want it, just get out, okay? So, but what really got me back is what's my calling? If I claim to care about people, which I do, and that's what my calling is, that's why I shifted from engineering to do this, then I have to care for everyone. The people that drive me crazy and those who don't. Of course, I got to put some boundaries. And the second part is anybody who steps out there and starts a business, whether they are selling tomatoes or they are doing maintenance or they are doing financial services, I respect them because they stepped out of their comfort zone. They had to fight their own demons and insecurities and what they have been told. And they have this thing within them. It's a dream that's willing to get out and they are trying to find a way. So if I don't help them, then to an extent, I'm being selfish. So I'm glad that I got to do this. Mr. Moha, you are the last one. Tell us, I don't know how long you've been here on the session, but anything that you picked up that you feel was beneficial.
Oh, you guys can hear me now, right?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, mine was really just confirmation of what you said about having like 15 seconds to really sell yourself out there. I remember when I was employed in Texas, I never cared about talking to customers because my bosses were doing that. But then when I started running my own business, I had to learn that quick. Because some of these things, like, every time I used to call, like when I was beginning, with my area code number being an 806 number, it kind of looks like a telemarketing number. So a lot of my clients, if I'm not straight to the point, they'll just hang up and I'll never hear from them again. I will be gone. So I had to kind of, learn that from experience. So I'm just here to confirm that what you're saying is absolutely correct. Like, people don't have that much patience nowadays. You have to be able to sell yourself. Even for some people like us, like business people, we have to sell ourselves to people that we want to work for us. It's not just about selling your services, but also you need help from people. So you have to be able to communicate quick, let them know what you're all about, and persuade them to work for you. So I'm just glad that I was able to join this and listen to you and learn a lot that I can actually put towards my business moving forward. So thanks, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, so welcome. Thank you for being here. Yeah, Moha is a veteran in business. I can't remember when you started your first business, but I think we almost started at the same time. Was it 2016 or 17?
About 2016.
2016. Yep. 2016 is when I went full time. So it takes a while to build a business, but it's so worth it. And the last thing I'm going to say, the best gift you can give yourself, two of them actually. Number one is to allow yourself to be you, to get out there, shine, be your authentic self. Don't try to switch. I've seen people try to switch the way they talk. I mean, you want to make sure you can be understood, but when you try to switch, you're working so hard. Your body is really working hard. And now you're only thinking about how you sound. So you come out as inauthentic and they think you are hiding something. And then number two is to find as many people as possible. Give them that gift of using your services. And when you look at it as a gift, then you're not going to hold back. And the last thing will be make as much money as possible. Don't be lied to by anyone. Money moves the world. Okay. You cannot build a ministry without money. You don't have to be money hungry. You just need to make as much as possible. Elon Musk, that dude is still working. Why does he need to work when he has all the money? It's the passion. Jeff Bezos is working. So we do it because we have a calling and there are people that you need to help. And whatever that you believe in, I believe when you cross over to the other side, there's going to be an accountability of what you did with the gift that you have and the opportunities that you were given. The cool thing is that when you pursue your calling, you get paid in the process and you get paid very well. And this is not a myth. I've been paid very well. To an extent, I go like, okay, I can't believe a short black guy from Kitui, the village, actually, you can get paid this much. But when God puts something in you, you have to cultivate it. And you have to keep on working on it and people see value. So I wish you all the best. I think you're going to be very successful. Again, feel free to reach out to me if you need anything. God bless.